What up? What locked and loaded? This is Judge Mentalist coming right into your ear holes. For some of you, your eye holes, and all the way across your brain waves. Here, we are getting ready for me to head out of town. Big Sexy's always out of town, and got a little travel coming here. A little talk from the last couple of weeks to just fill you in on everything that's going on in the world, in our lives. It's Big Sexy, your digital nomad.
What up, what up? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening whenever this is hitting your ear holes. I hope that it is good. Welcome to Big Sexy Digital Nomad, coming at you live. Well, I'm coming at you because I'm currently live in Bucharest, Romania.
Feels pretty
Still,
live to me.
still here, yeah. Had some more experiences, some more adventures. I tell you, I have seen more parks and have drank more tea and different delicious lemonades here in Bucharest than I have in a long time.
Were you a tea drinker before?
I love tea. Yeah, I'm a huge tea drinker, and I realized that we have what I say three Romanian friends, right? One being Raluca, who was part of the theater troupe that I went to go see live, the show there that I believe I talked about last episode. I'm sure I did because it was
Yeah.
a pretty big event. And then Loredana, who we met through a Facebook group. Actually, we met the theater troupe from Facebook group as well. Loredana, we hung out with, had tea, tried to go to the Village Museum, and they wouldn't let us in with Fox. They're like, no dogs. Like, he's in a harness. He's in a sling. He's not on the ground. He won't pee on anything. Like, no dogs. Like, whatever, fine. So we ended up walking around the park, and the park is gorgeous. Park Harua style. I can't pronounce it. But it's right near the Arc de Triomphe here in Romania, which is amazing because we walked out of the park. We're walking around. The cool thing, like, we saw the Village Museum because the park kind of surrounds it. So we saw it from the outside, which was pretty cool. And then we had we little sit down and had some lemonade at this cute little bar called La Biblioteca, which was lovely. Sitting down, chatting, talking, and then we rode the ferry at the park along the lake, which was gorgeous. And as we're leaving, we passed by the Michael Jackson Memorial. They had a little Michael Jackson Memorial statue, so we took pictures by that, of course. Anybody on the Instagram and saw those photos. And then as you're leaving, as we're getting ready to head out and head back to the apartment, boom, there's this Arc de Triomphe. Like an Arc de Triomphe. Like, not the one in Vegas, which is, entryway to a parking garage or the parking area in the valet section, like an actual giant sized, real sized, another Arc de
If it's the
Triomphe.
one, it's real sized,
But it's not the one, right? Because there's also one in Paris.
Right.
I found that there are several different Arc de Triomphs, which I need to review the origin. I don't know if that's like where Romans triumphed in the world and created an arc, or like what the origin of Arc de Triomphe is. I haven't done any research. Listeners, I apologize. Your host doesn't do research. I really should, because there's some things that you guys may want to know about that I should probably have much more information for you. I promise to do better.
It's a little overrated. I mean, if you think about it, if everybody had followed the research and the science 3 years ago, where would we be now? Seriously, would we be where we are right now if everybody had just snapped to it and listened to the research and the science?
Yes, I believe absolutely we would be exactly where we are right now. Maybe.
I don't know. I think a few more people might still be with us, but that's neither here nor there.
Right, maybe. Yeah, true that. We is that? That's my phone doing that.
Are they coming to beam you away?
I'm surprised I'm getting sound out of my phone, which is weird.
That sounded like a little
It was
little teleporter.
a ringer, but my phone's on like I must have accidentally been calling. So listen to see, and guess what? I'm not editing that out. That's just gonna live in there. That's just what it is.
You get
So
real here, big sexy digital nomad.
yeah, because we do this raw. Um, so it was really cool seeing the Arc de Triomphe. That was really amazing. And then our third friend is Chris, who is the vet at the vet tech at the veterinarian spot right across the street.
So
And
he didn't
so
have like some credentials he could wave around to say this dog is fine.
she
Let's
she
she.
didn't, and nope, no. Well, we're definitely gonna set up an appointment to see about extending his health certificate or getting a European
Oh, I didn't
passport.
mean for real. I just meant I'm thinking about the ladder and walking in with the ladder or the headset. You know, nope, nope,
Oh,
nope. This one's good.
I don't think that works in Romania.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, because the government here is not as accommodating to shenanigans. Um, unless
well,
you
that's
unless those shenanigans come with I'd say dollar bills, y'all, but here it's Rana Lays, y'all.
ah.
Uh,
Well, that doesn't sound like a country for me.
I
If you
don't know, man. Well, probably not. I don't know.
look, I can have a good time anywhere, but I
You like
I
there's a lot of casinos.
I need some shenanigans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. There's a
Right, so you were talking about the first place you stayed in Romania being haunted. I'm thinking that the current place that you're staying at is being haunted because we got weird ringers going off, we got lights flopping on and off.
yeah,
Like
right.
somebody's
It's
trying to send Big Sexy a message here.
they're like, hey, let's be interesting, and I'm gonna stop being interesting. I just want to record a podcast.
Woo woo!
Yeah, my because of way the um, electricity here is set up, right? My this workspace where I'm currently recording this podcast is not um, near a outlet,
Ah,
so I have to use a battery pack in order to run my light. So anybody watching this has been watching my lights flick on and off, and I'll do that. Whatever.
anybody not
Damn
watching
it!
it who wants to watch it, bullwiththebutthole.com. For just $1 a month, you get all this stuff
You get
released
all
to
this
you.
crazy, amazing, haunted mansion
I mean, you get it early.
shenanigans.
Like this one from when we're recording is more than a week before it's actually going to air to the public. I'm going to Vegas next week for Magic Live. That's one of like the premier magic conventions in the world. People come in from all over the place. It's cool because a lot of these magic conventions try to lure you in because we have so and so is going to be doing a lecture, this, that, and the other. Not Magic Live. Magic Live keeps it close to the vest. Obviously, the people who are presenting know who they are. The people developing the program know the program, but it's pretty hush hush. Like you're not going to Magic. You're going to Magic Live because it's Magic Live. You're not going to
Got
Magic
it.
Live because ooh, so and so who never does lectures is going to be giving a lecture. So
Now, have you
that's
been in
next week.
Magic Live before?
Oh yeah, absolutely. First time I went to Magic Live was in 2019. I made the mistake, and to anybody who's, and I'll put this out there as kind of a PSA to anybody who's getting into the mystery arts and may consider attending a Magic Live in the future. Um, the first year I went, because of my casino status, I ended up staying someplace that I could get the room comped. I had, at that point in
Nice.
time, I had never been to the
That's
Orleans.
always lovely.
I had never really gambled at any of their properties, so I had no juice there. I fixed that for this year, but the I stayed off property and ended up just taking Ubers back and forth to the sessions. And I'll tell you, the sessions are great, but the staying and hanging out afterwards and meeting new people, and there's certain areas where people congregate when the actual sessions and stuff shut down, that you don't really get to experience that if you're staying off property. So I definitely recommend staying on property for something like that. And that's probably to be said for any magic convention, because there's the scheduled stuff and then there's the unofficial, just hanging out and jamming with people's stuff. So that was the first year I went. I definitely did not get the full experience. Last year I went, and last year, still the remnants of everything getting jacked up for COVID. So my registration for the convention in 2022 was actually something that was originally supposed to be in 2020. It got canceled and put off. Then it got canceled and put off again, and rescheduled into May of 2022. So that was a convention that I had paid for 2 years earlier.
Right.
Then I stayed on property. At that point in time, I stayed on property. My gambling habits had changed, and I knew that I could book the room, and my play from that week would end up having me back end getting it comped, which it did.
Yay.
So that actually gave me status at the Boyd's properties, which I think I talked about. They've got a handful. They're all over the place. Not as many as some of the big guys, but they're not just a local casino. There's actually one an hour and a half north of my house outside of Philly, which I haven't been to yet, but definitely intend to check out.
You got to go there. I mean, that'll bump up your boy juice.
100%, yeah. And when I learned the stage hypnosis, I stayed downtown, and I stayed at the California, which is another one of the Boyd's properties. So those points that I got there, and I laid a beating on that place. Like, let me tell you, like, I don't know that we got into details.
We definitely talked about
but
you coming up.
It was financially, gambling wise, it was a great trip, not to mention learning fucking stage hypnosis, which very well could end up altering the course of my life after last week.
Yes.
Holy shit. That's all I got to say.
To the point where I have updated the social media, well, at least the description in one of these things, either Zencaster or SFP. I had to add word hypnotist.
Yeah.
To the description.
Listen, we're cleaning some things up. We're modifying some procedural stuff here as we are ramping up to episode 80, and that promise that this will be a real podcast by then.
Yeah.
Which includes updating some of the descriptions. So I don't know. Do we want to get into that?
Nah.
No, okay, we can wait on it. That's fine.
That's all. That's the boring behind the scenes stuff, like the switching of stuff over.
No. I meant the hypnosis stuff.
Oh yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, the hypnosis isn't boring. Hypnosis is amazing.
So, for those of you on the Patreon, I already dropped a clip of the how do I describe this? The show portion of the hypnosis show. So, and what I mean when I say that, I'm going to give everybody kind of the format for a hypnosis show is basically about a 5-6 minute intro. What is this? What isn't this? Here are some examples that you might, have your subconscious mind taking over in day-to-day life, which is basically what hypnosis is.
Right.
And then it's an invitation for anybody who meets my qualifications. And the qualifications are pretty simple. I don't want people up on stage that for any sort of medical reason shouldn't be there, whether it be a physical ailment, whether you're on antipsychotics, whether you should be but aren't taking antipsychotics, what have you. Safety first, all right? Safety first in all this stuff. I'm not, we're trying to have a good time, but we're trying to not get anybody hurt. So if somebody recently had a surgery or has a broken bones, look, this isn't a fly-by-night thing. Well, there'll be another show for you.
Right.
If I'm doing a show for adults, or in a mixed venue, it's not an adult content show, but I want everybody 18 and over on that stage. If I'm going to have one adult, I only want adults. I don't want people getting into a kind of sort of out of its state and be sitting beside a minor and, whatever. I don't want anybody groping anybody. It's actually part of the suggestions that get made throughout the course of the evening.
Right.
But there's just a different level of responsibility on my part when there are minors in the room. Now, if I'm doing a school show and I have all kids coming up, no problem. In fact,
have you done a school show yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Last Friday was actually my first ever training wheels off. I'm not in the room with my mentor. Let's get to it show. And it was great. Also, I don't want people that are high. People that are high are already in an altered state of mind. It's
Right.
not that anything would go wrong, but they're just going to sit there like a fucking vegetable. And, if I
Yeah.
got them deeper and into a more altered state than they are, it's just going to be a puddle in a chair.
Right.
And we don't necessarily need
Those
that. It's not
aren't
entertaining.
entirely enjoyable. Yeah.
So,
Chair puddles suck.
right. So I line up. I have 12 chairs left to right across the stage, and some of you, I will tell you that stage hypnotists do things differently from each other, and I don't just mean the bits that they do, but I've seen all sorts of different variations on how to do this. So I'm kind of describing the way that I was taught, which is the way that I'm obviously at this point in time comfortable with, and the way that I did it. So I have 12 just hardback chairs, just stiff back chairs up there, left to right in a line, and I get people that want to come up. And the goal is to fill those chairs because in the amount of time of my induction, I'm very unlikely to get all 12 of those people under and deep enough to a state that we could do what we want to do.
What's
The
the
goal
magic
is
number? What's the magic number you're looking for?
the goal is really to get 5 or 6. So I start
Okay.
with 12. I had 7 that I kept up on stage, 2 of which were fairly docile, which can mean one of two things. They're not very outgoing, and they think that their role in this game is to play along, so they're not super exuberant with some of the stuff,
Okay.
or they're too deep and they're just kind of slow and trudging through to react. Now, I have not deeply analyzed the video yet because we take video of all this stuff. Part of it
Right.
for promotional reasons, part of it for liability reasons. Just in case, this is like a whole real ass thing where like I have an insurance policy just for when I do hypnosis shows and all
Right.
this
Oh
shit,
wow.
right? Like it's not just like, oh hey, let's go play some tricks. Nothing wrong with that. I just had a fabulous fucking week of going out and playing tricks and making people laugh with Bat Donnelly. Half of which you guys heard about on the last episode.
We
You're
need to talk about
almost
the second
certainly
half. We need to talk about
we'll
the
get to
other
the
shows as
second
well.
half probably in the future, just because you've got stuff and I want to kind of dig into this. I had 5 people out of my 12, 5 out of my 7 that were fantastic, and 2
Nice.
of them came around at the end, so it made me think that they weren't playing. They might have just been wicked deep,
Right.
which can happen. And it just, and then we just have a bunch of playful fun right now. And anybody who sees that video on the Patreon, you're going to see what I consider to be a pretty vanilla show.
Okay.
I being new, being this is the first time that I've ever done this in public for a
You
real
gotta take
paying
it easy. You
audience.
gotta take it easy when you start off.
Also, it's a safety thing. You know what I mean? Like almost, and when
Yeah.
I say vanilla, I don't mean that the show's boring, because when you watch the show, you'll be like, what the fuck?
Look, vanilla's tasty. I don't know why people
It
think vanilla. I don't have vanilla
right.
equal boring. Vanilla's tasty. Vanilla goes with everything.
Most of the things, except for the very last number, and you know how we do it here on Big Sexy Digital Nomad, we keep the really juicy nuggets for the ends, was people staying in their seats and for the most part keeping their eyes closed. Those are the 2 things that kind of keep people in the lane, in the bubble. I don't have to worry about them falling off the stage. I don't have to
Right.
worry about them hitting each other or anything like that. And again, as I get more comfortable with this, as I do more of these shows, the training wheels will come more and more off. And
Right.
and part of it, just like with any performance, is kind of finding your lane, finding your voice.
Right.
Because right now my show has a lot of elements that are very much a clone of Kevin Lapine's. They've got my twist on them, but my framework in my head is Kevin's show.
Right.
That's the only thing I know, because the trajectory, this is the wild fucking thing. All right. The wildest thing in retrospect about this to me is looking at the trajectory of how I got here. Sure, I've been doing magic and mentalism for a couple of years, still
Right.
relatively new to the game for most. I had never attended a stage hypnosis show until April 2nd or 3rd
Really, never
of
attended.
2023. The first time I saw the fucking show was seeing Kevin's show in those 2 bonus days when my wife and I, with the wind and all that shit, stayed 2 extra days when we were out there hanging with
Right.
Brogan and Wayne. first time I ever saw a hypnosis show.
That's insane
Um,
to me.
so then a month and a half later, no, 2 months later, so April to June, I go to the class. We've talked about the class. And then you just get dumped out there. Okay, you're ready to go. Go book some shows.
Yeah, I mean, you're over here doing the hypnosis in bars, you know.
Which
If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out last episode.
Oh man, yes, that was Oh, you and look, if you don't hear it on our last episode, then I don't know how you got to this episode, but it's absolute I guarantee you because it is probably still Matt Donnelly walking into that bar randomly to see this week's stage partner basically up here randomly doing an impromptu drunk hypnosis show in a fucking karaoke bar might be one of the top 3 things that he experienced this past week. But I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about his perspective of just walking in being like, wait, what? The big double take on that?
Those
Like
definitely got to be the one of the top 3 weirdest things, at least.
100%. So that'll definitely be talked about on a future episode of ICS. We did not have time to put together an Abracababble episode, but that may happen over Zoom. That may happen. It probably won't happen next week. I'm not going to see Matt really at all because he's going to be taping Fool Us. I may go help him with his thing if he ends up being able to tape a piece, not his job as head writer, but as a participant.
Speaking of which, did you audition for Fool Us this season?
I sent some stuff. I got responses confirming that my stuff was received. As far as I know, I'm not on. And this isn't kayfabe. This isn't me playing along.
Right.
I felt like I was kind of in a limbo state with this because I know people who submitted who got responses saying we're not interested in this.
Right.
So I know that
your response didn't say we're not interested.
Correct. It said, "Hey, thanks, we got this." It was just a confirmation of receipt,
right?
Which was probably a, "Hey, this may make it in, but who knows? We need to see, if the real people are submitting first."
Right.
and I listen.
I'm pretty sure
I know where I am in the pecking order. Okay, I've been doing this.
Yeah,
for
I'm
5
pretty sure
years.
it's how the season's going. Do we have any other tricks of this type from possibly bigger names who've been doing it more?
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I sent them an obvious work in progress piece with a description that, hey, by the way, this is the most recent version of it. I'm still toying with it. And I don't know that they want incomplete pieces there, but at the same time, I think they'll take what they could get. But yeah, as far as I know, I'm out. If I end up taping for Fool Us, it'll be because they're short somebody, Magic Live's in town, and Matt's like, hey, my buddy might have something. Right. Like that's the only shot of me getting on.
Now, are you going to go to Fool Us when you're in town?
I will go to Fool Us.
Can I recommend that you go to Fool Us if you're not casting?
Listen, this is going to sound super bougie, and I'm embarrassed to even say what I'm going to say here, the way that I'm going to say it. I will only go and see Fool Us if I'm invited by Matt. And I'm only saying that because I have done the taping before. I have sat in the cattle call line for like 2 hours down the hallway of the Rio. And then I've been funneled into the theater, and I sat there for another hour. And let me tell you, I don't want to discourage.
I got you.
I don't want to sound bougie, and B, I don't want to discourage anybody from seeing a taping because I'm a cunt. But no, it's not for me.
I got you.
Like if I got that, and again, if I got that kind of hate,
tapings are different than going to see Penn and Teller live.
Oh, 100%. It is. Yeah. It is. I will tell you, for anybody who wants to kind of see really how this works, I absolutely recommend it one time. Don't say, hey, I want tickets to see 4 nights of taping if you're going out there and think that you're going to have a good time.
No, you will. I disagree because from my standpoint, my point of view.
You did it in the COVID years, though.
No. I did it way before the COVID years.
Oh, you did it before?
Okay. Yeah. I've seen Full Us like a bunch of times in the audience. But that's because I love that world. Right. I love the world of television. right? I love the behind the scenes. So instead of just sitting there waiting for the stuff on stage to happen, in the in between is also very interesting to me,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
and actually, you know what? Let me take back everything I just said for this season because, and I don't know what I'm allowed to say here.
I mean, technically, you can say whatever you want to say.
Okay.
Um,
I'm going to be somewhat cryptic. Okay. If you are listening to this and you found us because of ICS,
Welcome. Hi, how you doing? Pleasure to meet you, Scoop.
you may think that you're going to Penn and Teller's Fool Us because it is what it is. That's one reason. You may be going because Matt's there. If you're an ICS fan, there may be another name being part of that in between time to entertain those people during the downtime, who's a very entertaining individual, someone who does not currently have a job in Las Vegas, who will be part of that show. I think I've given enough clues. I don't think that my clues are as direct as when he gives clues to other people participating in the Scooperty, but I think you guys know who I'm talking about. I accurately did not give away anything that I
I,
shouldn't give
I
away,
think
right?
so. I think you were
Just
vague
there,
enough
there's
to
pieces to the puzzle,
provide questions.
and if
If anything, you're
somebody
just
wants,
providing
if somebody's
questions.
just really stuck on it, Ann Feeder's husband, Ann McFeeder's husband, might be there doing some
Maybe.
things. If they're still married by then.
Yeah.
Not that there's any thought that they wouldn't be, but
Right.
I'm just trying to still stay in that cryptic what if.
You passed cryptic now. I mean,
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
actually, I mean, anybody who doesn't listen to ICS doesn't know who Amic Feeders is, so
Right.
they won't know.
I felt like as an homage, I needed to give a Paul Mattingly style clue.
Yes, you very
Yeah.
much did give a Paul Mattingly style clue to that.
Uh,
Absolutely.
so anyway, there will be entertainment there that's not normally there, okay? Because normally, at least in the year that I had previously gone, it was literally just Mike Close, who's not really supposed to be there to entertain people. He's kind of the core of the producers, entertaining people and just fucking with people in the middle, telling jokes and stuff like that. So, um,
Now I'll tell you something you may not have known. There's
probably not.
another entertainer that was supposed to be a part of the show, but thanks to COVID, um, was not able to join the crew of Fool Us. Um, this person co-hosts a podcast that is about travel and shenanigans, but doesn't do magic.
Okay.
Now that's just
Uh,
me being cryptic.
is this somebody that's been on the show before?
This is somebody who's actually been on the Fool Us stage as part of a magic trick, but he does not do magic. But he was supposed to be comedic relief and a warm up comic pre show and then during the show and in
Yeah, yeah.
between snippets here and there. But then COVID happened.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, was definitely was in talks with was asked if it would be something I'd be interested in. At first, it's me. I'm just gonna stop talking in third
See,
person about this
I
person.
had it narrowed down with some of those clues
Yeah,
between you and Nick Tangeman, who
right,
I've now subsequently learned was on the stage with you for that bit as well.
right,
Um,
right. But I think Nick knows some magic.
I didn't know who Nick was at the time, so I only recognized Big Sexy.
Right. And uh, Matt had called me and asked me if I would be interested in the position. Of course, I was worried because I was working at the complaints department, and I didn't know how that timing would go. And depending upon talks, I was ready to quit. Right, I was
Yeah.
ready to quit the complaints department and go start. Be the warm up entertainer for Penn and Teller's Fool Us. But as listeners know and friends know and anybody else who's paying attention knows, that didn't happen. that didn't happen. But yeah, I'm hopeful that I see you on an episode.
So
Well,
Matt
I'm pretty
thinks,
sure I'll hear about it well before I see it.
right. Well,
I mean, because we talk
you
every
would hear
week.
about it,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
if I'm under an NDA. You would know.
yeah.
Not to
No. I mean, because because NDAs mean you can't discuss, like their NDAs are specific. You can't discuss a chick. You can't discuss whether you fool them or not. You're really not supposed to say you're on the show. But things you can say is, look, I signed an NDA, and then stop, and then right there, and that's enough.
And I could certainly talk about the fact that I flew to Vegas for something,
Yeah,
because
absolutely. I flew
that's
to
not uncommon
Vegas.
for me.
Right. That's within the realm of possibility.
In fact, at the time that this episode drops, I'm actually in Las Vegas.
Right.
So yeah, it's interesting because Matt, here's a little behind the scenes stuff, which I believe is all public, and Matt spoke about it openly to multiple people, so I feel very comfortable saying this. The CW changed ownership, which I think is public information, and that it was the new ownership that greenlit this season, the 10th season.
Right.
Matt's assumption is that if they are renewing something as new owners, they're not just looking to do it for one season, that they will probably be doing an 11th season. He also, and that was never really my concern, and I didn't know that the CW had changed hands or anything like that. My concerns were that, are these guys going to keep coming up with bits to close the show? Like, they've got to do 20 fucking closers, and really that they need to, they need to tape 20 closers, which means they have to have 20 couple in the can to do in case some of them don't work out.
100.
Are they going to be tired and burnt out by then? And I guess, according to Matt, that didn't seem to be a concern for him at all. So
100.
he seems right. He seems to think that there will be a subsequent season, unless something is a complete train wreck with this one, which, again, they've been doing this for so long. They're a talent type of show that actually has magicians on it with magic consultants.
Yes.
A certain other one that typically goes by a 3-letter acronym has had magicians win it numerous times, had magicians on it from the very beginning, and still for some reason does not have a magic consultant behind the scenes on that show. It doesn't help that they have a host that believes that magic is real, legitimately. So, maybe the show goes on. I'll have more time to prepare stuff. The biggest problem is I don't really know how. I mean, I'm not giving up on magic and mentalism by any means, but fuck all. Friday night was some shit.
Well,
and
it's good that
and obviously I could do both. I could do hypnosis, I could do mentalism. There's some crossovers in style, but good God, it's so much fun. And
that's the important thing. The important thing is that you're having fun and enjoying. You're not necessarily a new career path, but definitely a new amazing hobby, and that can lead to a new career path, right?
It absolutely could be. I mean, it's still not lawyer money, but if I'm doing the rates that you could get for a well-produced stage hypnosis show, the rates that you can command and that I should be able to command within a year, put me on a trajectory to do one show a week and make $250,000 a year. Like, it's not, it's and that's real money. It's not lawyer money, but it's real money.
Right.
And God, would there be a
definitely
shit
not podcaster money.
That goes in a different direction, but yes.
Yeah.
Bullwiththebutthole.com.
Right.
We're adding up those dollars. We did have some new ones since last time,
which we'll get
awesome.
to at the end.
Yeah.
In our thank you segment.
Should we get into some
before we do,
okay.
I want to have a really quick discussion. This was proposed by one of the Malaga digital nomad people.
I do.
Um, and right, me too. Especially
I'm
this
not
one.
going to embarrass somebody in the middle of a proposal. I'll tell you
Right,
no
right.
afterwards,
I'm
right?
yeah. Right. I'll say yes right now, and then we get inside. I'm like, what the? What were you thinking? I'm already married. But yes, 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 I will. I'll
Are
have a
they good at
discussion.
mouth, finger, butthole?
No,
Because I know Brogan is looking. No,
no,
Brogan's not looking, but
not looking at all. Now, okay.
sorry.
Complete side note. Complete side note.
Is this whole conversation not a complete side note?
That might yes, yes. On a side note, I'm writing that
We
down.
are now in that fucking alley that led us to that karaoke bar that I couldn't tell you where it is
Exactly.
to save my life.
Okay. So I had the thought as I was listening to
Hey, buddy, nice podcast.
Yes.
yeah, that one. As I listened to that one, I'm pretty sure the age difference prevents this from happening. And they're going to remain buddies. But how close do you think Mox and Brogan can get?
Uh, well,
Feel me? Right.
Edinburgh Fringe is coming.
Right.
Mox is going to be in Brogan's backyard.
Right. And if you listen to Brogan tell the stories of their adventures in England and hanging out with the fam.
All of this is about Mox. It's not about Penn. Everybody's listening to find out what's going on with Penn.
It's all about
All
Mox.
about Mox.
Right.
Yes.
And the admiration, right? Because Penn is on that pedestal.
Yeah.
Right. But Mox is like not on a higher pedestal, is conception on one step down, right? Is access to, if I screw religion is religion, but if Penn is God, Mox is Jesus, right? And Jesus is the human equivalent to get you right next to God, right? But man, listening to Brogan talk about Moxie and listening how Brogan says Moxie talked about them,
Yeah.
and invited them and was comfortable and was happy to see them.
And I will tell you, because I've seen it firsthand when we were at that show that we ended up back in the Monkey Room.
Right.
That was all like Brogan.
Right.
Yes.
So as I was walking through the streets of Romania, through Bucharest yesterday, looking for a medical device for the missus, it struck my mom. Are they gonna date? Is Brogan? Is it gonna be Broxy? Are we gonna have a Broxy episode coming up? So I doubt it. I don't think so. I think the distance.
I mean, there's a continental divide there. I think that divide there, for now,
is
more than any age difference, because the time kind of washes that stuff away.
But
being contemporaries,
right, right. But the joy, the things about being a child of a child in wealth is the ease and ability to travel much more frequently.
Well, and I'll tell you that Brogan intends fully to get employed and move to the States.
Yes,
absolutely, and specifically to Vegas. And I've told Brogan, I said, look, I'd hire you. I mean, you've got legal background. I'm 5 hours away from Vegas, and to that effect, Brogan has been like, well, it's a lot closer than I am now.
True that.
Because I think it's probably 7-ish hours from Scotland to here, and then 5 to Vegas. So it's closer than half. It's going more than halfway. And just, again, I have a great level of comfort. And again, some of this is financial, like you were mentioning. I have a great level of comfort. Like if I were to get a phone call right now and it said, be here for this, and this was worth it for me, and it was domestic in the States, the ability for me to go click, 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 book a flight and be headed to the airport, very easy.
Right.
There's still internationally, that's not the
That's
same.
not the same. Right.
Because me booking a last minute flight somewhere, let's say I stayed on the East Coast, it's probably going to cost me, $300 each way instead of $300 round trip.
Right.
To do it last minute internationally, I'm spending like $4,000, and that's
that can be cost prohibitive.
Yes. So
unless you're the child of a world famous entertainer with a TV show and a stage show,
right? And look, we don't know exactly how that dynamic exists, because a lot of people, myself included, my kids, obviously they benefit from my financial status, but that's my money, not theirs.
Of course.
You've got to go make your own way, which, again, I'm not trying to draw any sort of conclusions or make any assumptions. Mox is certainly making their own way.
Definitely. But that just the side note that I realized just listening to them talk about Mox and vice versa. So that'll be interesting development to watch as things come and go, which obviously make me a much more avid listener to Hey Buddy Nice podcast, just in case you hear that kind of stuff happen. But that side note took us well past. So really quickly, and then I'm gonna hit you.
Still have a proposal for me.
I'm gonna hit you with this topic, but we're going to table it for the next episode. Okay. So
which will be 2 episodes from now for the folks listening at home or your cars or wherever.
Right. Or we might hit yeah, exactly. So the topic is hookup deal breakers.
Hookup
deal breakers.
Yeah.
And we're taking it back to the single days, right? When we're in the era of hooking up with people. As a guy, what would be a deal breaker that would stop you from hooking up with somebody you found attractive? So we'll table that. I don't want to get into that now because that can be a whole long conversation as we run down the list. But I definitely want to broach that subject here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then another subject that I want to go over. This is something I found watching a podcast on YouTube. There's a book and a program called the 35 Questions to Make You Fall in Love with Someone.
Okay.
And I'd love to check that out and see what that's about and go into that kind of discussion. I think that makes for really good, interesting conversation. But in order to further engage with our listeners, I believe we have a digital postcard, correct?
Yes.
All right, hang on 1 second. Let me see if I got this. Digital postcard. All right, there we go.
Woo! This is a long one. We ready for this?
Let's go. Let's get in it.
All right. So full disclosure, and I know we've said this before, and we've meant it every time. We don't pre-screen these.
Nope. I saw it in there. I started and did not read it.
I am not going to say who this is from, only because, again, I haven't read it, and I want to read through it and make sure there's not something in here that says "Don't say my name," even though they signed it at the bottom.
Right. If they sign at the bottom, you'll say it when you get to the bottom.
Exactly. Hey guys, I'm sorry this took so long to get to you. Things have been kind of crazy around here, but I promise to give you more details on how I got here and how I'm doing. So here we go. All right. So I think that this person has already kind of written to us now that I'm remembering, and so I think the name will be fine, but we'll still save it to the end.
All right.
Let's start with the biggest challenge of the move: getting the animals out. We have 3 dogs: Snoopy, Pinky, and Callie, and a cat, Flower. We thought about flying them out, but one of them is a Chihuahua, and that won't go well. So we settled on driving over the course of the week, staying in hotels.
We had no problem flying our Chihuahua all over the countries.
Your Chihuahua is a different breed.
Is it Fox is a different animal? Absolutely.
Yes. That is until my Aunt Sharon, my mom's sister, asked if we could come out and if she could come out and drive with us across the country. And we realized that with her on our team, that would make 3 drivers: my mom, brother, Chris, my Aunt Sharon. I can't drive due to ADHD. So we decided that we were going to hightail it from Vegas to New Jersey, all 38 hours nonstop, and just rotate drivers.
That's intense. I'm curious as how the ADHD stops the driving. Like how distracted.
I don't think mine stops me, but
I know mine doesn't stop me. Like how distracted do you get? That'd be. I want to follow up. I want to follow up, Emma. How distracted do you get that's stopping you from driving? Okay, continue.
Speaking of ADHD and us solidifying our own symptomology here, I saw a meme the other day that was like, "You're not a jack of all trades; you just have ADHD."
Yes,
and I felt both
seen and attacked
and appreciated. So all 38 hours nonstop, just rotate drivers. It would be a fun road trip of singing songs and catching up after not seeing each other for years. I don't know. I have two minds on that.
That is either a recipe for an awesome adventure or unmitigated disaster.
I exist literally, and maybe this is my ADHD. I exist of 2 absolute reactions to that. One is the fuck yeah, pull the Band-Aid off, get it the fuck over with, and get there. Right. But then part of me is like, the faster we go, the less we see. You know,
right?
Like there's so much in those 3,000 or so miles.
That's funny. See, you're thinking of it in terms of the actuality of the travel.
Yes.
Whereas I'm thinking of it in the socialization within the vehicle.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting. That's our 2 minds working.
Yeah.
Out. Okay.
It would have. Oh, I'm getting a little. Yeah. This is getting a little Italian here, I think. The air show is beginning. It would have been a great plan, except my aunt, we'll call her Judy, not her real name. Wait, I thought she was Sharon. A different aunt. Joined us on the trip at the last minute. She's my grandmother's sister. Okay, great aunt. I missed a word. Now we are talking about a different person.
A different person. I love that you gave us the real name of a bunch of people, but the one person who's about to sound like it's interesting.
Yeah, this asshole.
No real name.
She's my grandmother's sister and is, in short, a piece of work. She was going to stay with us briefly. I'm not going to spend too much time on her because most of it's personal stuff that I don't want in the podcast.
Fair.
I'm only going to tell you things relevant to the story coming out here. The fact that she's no longer here, and I'm thrilled. Okay, so we load up the 2 cars.
At first, I was about, oh man, may she rest in peace. No, you mean she's gone. Okay, yeah, that's
right. Wait, I mean, look, that paragraph could be the starting off point for an entire podcast. It sounds like to me. There's a lot of depth there. If you wanted to talk about it on a podcast, just go vent. Hey, do a podcast and don't release it anywhere. Just use it as that. I'm going to vent. I'm going to speak to imaginary people. Okay, so we've loaded up the 2 cars, the family car and quote Judy's car, and set off. The new plan being for Sharon and Judy to be in the latter's car, and my mom, Chris, and I in the family car. The family car having all the pets inside. A leash and a bottomless holding pen for us to set up on grass for the pets to use the bathroom during stops for gas. That worked really well for everybody except Flower, who was really freaked out by the whole thing and wouldn't go during the stops.
Can I just say that caravan is different than carpool?
Yes.
That is a much more frustrating and different breed.
Oh, yeah.
Then a carpool. Continue, please.
So anyway, Flower was really freaked out the whole thing and would not go during stops. Let's just say that we needed a lot of bleach in the car when we arrived at the house.
That's a cat for you.
Yeah. We were surprised by how well the animals did on the trip, the dogs at least. But one person we were not surprised by was Judy's behavior. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
The idea was that her and Sharon would rotate out in Judy's car, the driving duties, but she kept trying to weasel out of taking her turn to drive, and it sparked several arguments at the rotation points on which we had almost had a security guard in Memphis have to step in and break it up.
Oh,
I mean, look,
goodness.
it's very clear from the premise and just getting started in this email that like everybody who can is going to pitch in on the drive here. It's
You
what
gotta
makes
pitch
it work.
in. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. You got to pitch in, especially if there's only two in that car.
Yeah.
Oof.
So in the end, when Chris and Judy were the only ones fit to drive, we said in a nutshell, we're continuing on with Sharon in our car. It is your decision whether to follow us or get a hotel for the night. Cruel, maybe, but nobody else could safely drive at that point. And Sharon had a job interview that she was going to in the morning, so we could not stop. I think it's completely fair.
Yep, that's accurate.
You play the game or you get left in the dust. They did end up following. Good. I appreciate that. Because sometimes you just got to put your foot down and get people acting right.
Exactly.
We end up arriving on time, and my Uncle Chuck and Aunt Sue were nice enough to drive a whole camper all the way from their home in Philadelphia full of things that we might need while we wait for the moving truck, like folding tables and chairs, groceries, cookware, silverware, dishes, cups. We were quite overwhelmed with how helpful they were to us. I was not here when the truck came because I went back to Vegas for a few days with my brother Chris for Las Vegas FurCon. Interesting.
Okay.
A new furry convention that was having its first year at the Alexis Park by the Virgin.
I'm familiar with that place.
The furry is a random group. This is me just not reading. The furry fandom is a group all about the love of anthropomorphic. It's a word I know, but I've never actually read off of a page. Anthropomorphic animals. So
yes,
animals
that
are humanized.
Google it. And then clear your history.
I've been part of it for years, and I'm glad it's starting up there because it's an excuse to visit home every year. Fantastic. I love weird conventions. I mean, not that they're weird to the people that are in them, but weird to outsiders looking in.
Right.
Magic is the same kind of thing. It's just a different brand of weird, and different people find it weird. But when you're in there and you're immersed with all those like-minded people, like cha-ching. Like
I've cosplayed at Comic-Con, so I get it.
The Star Trek convention, Star Trek Las Vegas, is starting soon. It's over by the time that this airs, probably. As I was flying back from Vegas, the moving company arrived, and in short, they did a terrible job. Hey, spoiler alert, they almost always do. First, they crammed in 2 other jobs as they drove across the country, so we ended up with a lot of missing items in the confusion. Then when they did show up, they did not follow the labels on the boxes at all, unwrapped sensitive furniture before bringing them into the house, including our kitchen table, which now has several scratches. They completely destroyed my computer desk. We had to get new dishes, and then when it came time to bring in my mom's upright piano, they decided to turn it on its side to bring it in. What? If you don't know, we'll most likely mess up the tuning beyond repair. It's messed up right now. We think we can get it tuned, except it's in the wrong room on the wrong floor. Good. Oh man.
Good God, Miss Molly.
See, I knew this was going to cost I knew this was going to be an air show.
Yeah.
Not devastating, but this is not great. So now we have to hire somebody else to get it up the stairs and hire someone to tune it.
This is the jet fuel portion.
At least you guys know that the order that you need to do. Get it where it needs to go so that somebody doesn't screw that up again, and then get it tuned.
And then get it tuned.
They knew what they were doing too, because when they were finishing up, they sat my mom and grandmother down at the kitchen table, had them sign the invoice, and then they charged out of the house so fast that they left behind the clipboard with the manifest on. He very sheepishly came back for it, but we will definitely be filing a damage claim, as you should.
Yes, please do.
100%
Immediately. I hope by
you
the
should.
time you hear this, you've already filed it. But immediately.
Even though I've only been here for 3 months, that's you prepped it this big long. I've been waiting forever to do this, but honestly, to decompress from what I've read so far, plus the especially the cross country move,
Time is fair.
that's pretty timely. Yes. Even though I've only been here for 3 months, I've been getting acting auditions left and right. I auditioned for Aladdin the musical, the Portland Stage
Awesome.
Company, and even a few new shows going up off Broadway. This surprised even me. I was not expecting to be in New York this early. I figured it would at least have to be unionized first.
Nope.
But at the Aladdin auditions, the monitor actually told me that even the equity auditions will sometimes see non-union people. So I've been
Yep.
taking full advantage of that.
Awesome sauce.
And just yesterday,
Break a leg.
I auditioned for the Pennsylvania Shakespeare Institute's production of Romeo and Juliet. They run in a similar fashion to the Utah Shakespeare Festival,
I have a
where they
big
perform
place in my heart for Shakespeare.
where they perform taste of Shakespeare plays, do a Q&A, and teach workshops afterwards for schools around Pennsylvania. As Big knows, this is where my experience lies the most. We both did a similar gig for Shakespeare Institute of Nevada, except this one pays handsomely.
Yep.
I hope that goes well because I would love to return to Shakespeare. Been working a day job in a movie theater up the road, and I've also been volunteering for the Surflight Theater on Long Beach Island. Oh, I've got family that vacations there. This place is amazing. It's a huge theater right by the beach with an ice cream shop attached to it. Contact me. You got to book my new show here in this theater. I'm assuming that they do stuff that's not just showing movies. And as I write this, I'm getting ready to go. Yeah, I'm getting ready to go see their production of Something Rotten. Then next month, I'm getting involved in the New Jersey Fringe Festival down in Hamilton, which is a festival all about staging new works from indie artists. Ooh,
that sounds awesome.
Definitely too late for me to get involved in that. But also the other thing is that this new show that I've put together, which we'll probably talk about in another episode, definitely runs 90 minutes. The main goal here with volunteering and the festival is to make some friends. Yeah, no shit. Hell yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Network.
Because the hardest thing to do about this move has been starting my social life from scratch, sometimes for the best.
And not necessarily directly from scratch. I mean, you'll still find support, Oh,
you're jumping into a comfortable world with hopefully like-minded people. I think it's a great strategy. As we turn into an episode of Pod Therapy, I may have family here, but not a lot of friends, and that made me feel homesick. I hope getting involved will help me out there, especially when I land a gig.
It will indeed.
Being in a new place has been quite scary, to say the least. The decision to leave Vegas was not an easy one, and I miss it terribly. But if these gig auditions I've been getting are any indication, I'm sure it will be worth it in the long run. It excites and scares me at the same time. Michael McKenna.
Yay!
Well, thanks so much for sending that in. That was a fantastic load. And again, like I mentioned midstream there, I don't think that the time frame, given everything that you've rolled up on here over the past 3 months, that I think that's an appropriate amount of time to decompress and for lack of a better term, kind of get right and get your shit together, which clearly you seem to be on track to doing.
And the other thing is, and I had the same experience, again, moving all the way across the country, right? I mean, not across the country, across the world.
Across the world, yeah.
I didn't feel connected until I made friends, but I made friends, right? Even when coming here to Romania, we didn't know anybody in Romania. We didn't know anybody in Spain, but we did have a connection from the cruise, right? So we've had minor connections each way, one or two people, right? But when coming to Romania, zip, zilch, zero, none.
Yeah.
I'm glad we had each other, but we didn't know anybody else. But within, joining on Facebook groups and going out to see theater, like suddenly I'm, connected, networking, hanging out with folks, doing things. So that comes no matter what, no matter where you are, that comes. Yeah, Michael, you're definitely a social person. The good news is you're in a state that has karaoke. So go find your karaoke spot. You're auditioning, so that stuff's gonna bring about wonderful events and opportunities. It's going to be amazing. And I definitely want to hear about the connections that you made. It's going to be big stuff. Yeah, yeah.
And please keep us posted on your auditions in these productions, because when you land one, I would love to know, because I don't know exactly where you are in New Jersey, but you're no more than 3 hours driving from me. So
yeah, you're close enough to have a fan and a friend in the audience.
and I'll come hang out for sure. So
Absolutely.
awesome.
If you too would like to let us know about your travels and tell us your cross country or cross town or cross the world stories, either joyous or horrible, feel free to send us an email like Michael did at bigsexynomad@gmail.com. You can also go to bigsexynomad.com or prankcall.me and leave us an audio postcard if you don't want to write it all out and you want to tell us in your own voice. Feel free to do that as well. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
And also, for those who follow us on the Twitters and the threads, we're going to start putting opinion polls. Because we're looking for more engagement from our listeners. So we're going to start putting in opinion polls. We're going to call it over under. And we're going to, I'm going to list a location. I'll probably start with places we've been. And then may also throw in places we're looking at going. And you can vote either overrated or underrated. And then be sure in the comment section tell us why you voted that way. And then we will read those results on air. I will drop that first poll when this episode airs. I've been doing stuff early because we record and then it drops later, but then I get the idea and I try to do it immediately. I'm going to drop that poll when this episode airs on that same day. So I give myself little reminders to do that as well. Also, if you haven't been paying, if you don't notice yet, every Saturday we're dropping bonus episodes, which are interviews that I've conducted. We just dropped this as of this recording the last Saturday. Zuri and Abby, which
that was 2 Saturdays ago.
No, that was when this episode drops. That was 2 Saturdays ago.
Right.
But as of this recording,
as of the recording,
last Saturday. Again,
me listening to all of your words.
number one time travel podcast where the host is in Romania. Maybe, I'm assuming there might be a Romanian time travel podcast that I don't know about. But right now, as far as we know, that's accurate. So tune into those as well. Check those out. We'll this upcoming Saturday, which would have been last Saturday when this episode drops. I think that's how that works. We will start the first of our Malaga digital nomad interviews. And pretty soon I'll be recording some folks from Romania as well. So keep an ear on that. Enjoy. And we look forward to bringing you all the stuff. Judge, where can they find you on the socials?
Psychic-ish for me and my personal performance stuff. And also, if you're anywhere near where I am, check out Elkton Magic, also on all the socials, or elktonmagic.com. Hasn't been announced yet, but I've got another performer that I've been trying 2 years to get will be in Elkton in October. And I guarantee you, if you're 2-3 hours away, it's going to be worth the drive, and we're going to be doing it in the big hall, so there'll be plenty of tickets.
And be sure to check that out. And of course, if anything goes through, that Judge has access to the ticketing. If you put in Safe Travels at checkout, you'll get a discount on those tickets. So
if it is an Elkton Magic proper show, if I am quote unquote producing the show, which I think is the right terminology for it.
Yes.
If I set up the ticket link, you can guarantee that Safe Travels will be the best promo code in there. So if I'm doing something super special for some organization for some reason, it will at least match that. So don't have to worry about hunting and pecking and waiting for something. That'll be the best promo code available.
In the meantime, search Big Sexy Digital Nomad on all the things. Tell your friends. We are still in a growing position, so please share this with as many people as you possibly can. Let them know that we're out here doing this thing. And of course, we're always open to suggestions. If you want us to talk about anything in particular, or you want to hear us discuss locations or magic or whatever, hit us up. Let us know, and we will drop that on the podcast ASAP. Right now, again, unlike a lot of other podcasts, when you send us a digital postcard, if you send an email or whatever, a lot of times you got to wait episode after episode after episode to hear your particular mailing. Well, guess what? If you drop it up to us, you're going to hear it within one episode.
I will tell you right now, there is a Scooperty that is sitting in the queue that if we make it to December, which is only a few months from now, will be 2 years old.
That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. So we appreciate you listening, and that's it. Take care. Oh, go to bullwiththebutthole.com.
Yeah, bullwiththebutthole.com.
Safe travels.
Safe travels.